because I'm also streaming. While we do this, we're live on Twitch now. If you guys are a part of the Twitch community, we're live now. One of the things we are doing is I was requested to do a Fallout 4 lore podcast. And this was something that a few of you have messaged me because I talk about it in small detail in some of the shows that we do. And you guys asked if I would do that, so I am going to do that. But in addition to doing that, what we are going to also do is play through the entire campaign of Fallout 4 as well.
War never changes.
So we're going to play through the campaign. We're going to explain some of the meanings of the game. We're going to dive into some of the details.
In the year 1945,
You guys are
my
able to hear some of the
great-great-grandfather,
gameplay.
serving in the
Really
army,
quiet in the background. Like I said, this is our first.
wondered when he'd get to go
We're
home
doing
to
the
his
opening
wife.
credits right now. So this is
And
sort
the
of the
son he'd
background
never
of the
seen.
main protagonist in this one, the
He got his
lone
wish.
survivor.
When the U.S. ended World War II,
Yeah, you're a
by
soldier
dropping
in
atomic
this
bombs on
gameplay.
Hiroshima
Sort of your
and
background.
Nagasaki.
A little bit
The
different
world
than
awaited Armageddon.
a lot different than the New Vegas, and a little bit different than
Instead,
Fallout 3. Fallout 3, I think that's where you
something
start.
miraculous
That's in
happened.
DC, so that's in the capital wasteland, and
We
that's
began
about.
to use atomic energy not as a
You start
weapon,
as a baby, and your dad runs
but
away.
as a
and you gotta
nearly
find
limitless source of power.
him. We can talk about that a little bit.
People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of
I'll let
science
this play
fiction.
through a little bit.
Domestic robots, fusion-powered cars, portable computers. But then, in the 21st century, people awoke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of
Definitely
every
one of
major
the
resource.
best intros ever.
The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year
So
2077.
sick. It's by
We
far
stand
my
on the
favorite
brink
video
of
game
total
franchise
war.
ever.
And I am afraid. For myself. For my wife. For my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing,
And here's the big line.
it's that war never changes.
There you go. War never changes. That's the big line from the Fallout universe. Okay. So if you're watching the Twitch stream, we're
War
currently
never
about to
changes.
design
You're
our
gonna knock him dead at
character.
the Veterans
So
Hall
there you
tonight,
go.
hun.
You think?
Make sure to hit him with that line again.
Absolutely. Now get ready and stop hogging the mirror.
Right.
So you could play as a male or a female character. I almost always choose the male character. I've done one female playthrough, character Sloane, who's one of my only melee characters, who is a beast. But I almost always pick the male protagonist. I know a lot of people don't. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. I am going to try and do a sort of unique character. I mean, not really that unique. It's going to be unique to me. Character, hopefully, that I haven't done too many times. But one of the things that I'm going to decide to do here is, I typically make an individual character. Like, I make a pretty specific character. My very first character ever was Bernie Sanders, who's just like a super charismatic, no strength, no real abilities, just intelligence and charisma. Started a bunch of settlements all over the place. I think for this character I'm going to try and do what would be the most realistic for this particular, for this game. Like, what would be the most realistic? So you were a soldier before, so I'm going to try and make a character similar to that. If you are watching on Twitch, you can see that I do have some mods in. I've already got some, like, aesthetic mods. But we are going to be a soldier. I'm said, how old do you think that we are? I got a small son, but you were a soldier. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But I will talk a little bit about the lore while we're creating the character here. So I guess the basic, I mean, you can see everything, all the aesthetic is like a 50s aesthetic, and that's sort of how they designed everything. The basic foundation of it is everything is the exact same as our lore, as our, real life history up until the 50s and 60s. So in the 50s and 60s where we had that, super pro America, go home team personality, there was the same fervor kept on into the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s into the 2000s, and they developed nuclear technology, and they used nuclear technology instead of the dangerous and deadly ways that we used it. They used the technology. They put it in cars. They had the self-drive, or not this. I mean, maybe self-driving. Who fucking knows? But they had the nuclear-powered cars, and they used it. That was their fuel source. That was their generators, as opposed to, the gas-powered and combustion engines and whatnot. But basically the same. The Mr. Handy robots that they showed you at the beginning of this, and you heard some of them talking about it in the introduction to this.
Hey,
I think we're just gonna go pretty.
did you get a haircut yesterday? It's cute.
The Widow's Peak, the normal thing. Saw good though, soldier saw good. We'll definitely give him facial hair, but it saw good. But super pro America of the 50s. And it didn't wane and go into like the hippie revolution. It stayed that 50s aesthetic. So the same kind of decorations and the same kind of fashion. Like it's all 50s and 60s stuff, which I think is great. And the music's fantastic. It's got some of the best soundtracks ever. You can sort of hear it now, playing in the background. But it is just absolutely wonderful. I think we are going to do a full beard. Not the biggest one, but the survival.
What do you think, hon? Beard or no beard?
We'll have to change the color. Let's see if I could do that. Yeah, you can. Okay. But so anyway, continuing through that, like the U.S. and China got into like it was their beef, basically. There's like the communists and the capitalists, like their beef replaced Russia with China. Like there wasn't a Cold War with Russia, there was a Cold War with China. So it was like the Red Scare,
New hairstyle.
but with
I like it.
China. And so we were competing against the Chinese, and they sort of took the place of the Russians, like I said, in a Cold War standoff to see who'd be the world's superpower. Which is much closer to where we are now, actually, I think, like in real life. Much more competition with China than with Russia. And in this timeline, China actually invades the United States in Operation Anchorage. They invade Alaska, which I think is in Fallout 3. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's in Fallout 3.
My
I think
turn,
it's
big guy.
DLC. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really
Let me
matter.
just
She looks at the
slide
end
in
of the day.
here.
Spoiler alert, she's gonna get fucking plowed. Scene 1. She just gets destroyed. And that's, your spoiler alerts, I guess. But if you're listening to this, hopefully you've played the game before. If you haven't, this is gonna be very exciting then. And I'll try not to spoil too many things. But yeah, so Operation Anchorage, and it's called the Resource Wars. That's when shit got wrecking, tensions got real tight. The U.S. basically commandeers Mexico and Canada, all within like 100 years time, of the booming 50s. So you're looking at like I think the invasion was in 2066, and by 2076 the United States owned pretty much all of North America. And by 2077, that's when America had driven the Chinese out of Alaska, and seemingly won the war, like quote unquote seemingly won the war. But October 23rd, 2077. That's the most important date of this game. We're gonna be pretty muscular, not like overly muscular. We'll be we'll be a little slim. We won't be fat though. Yeah, not overly muscular. Yeah, that'll work. So that's like the start of the Great War, which is a complete nuclear holocaust. So many bombs were launched that it completely changed the Earth's surface forever. It just destroyed major cities, mutated the animals. That's why I got the Yagwai and the Death Claws and the zombie-like creatures that are the ghouls. Some of them feral, some of them not feral, but he irradiated everything. But before these bombs fell, and we're gonna get into this. I think. I mean, we're about to get into the character here. I think I name him in a minute.
Good morning.
Looking around. I feel a little slower than I should, but it could be because it's an early game. Can I run? No, I can't run yet.
Perfection.
There's Codsworth.
Today's newspaper just delivered.
Thanks, Codsworth.
Of course, sir.
I love Codsworth. Codsworth is the man. Here's the news. So this is where it gets kind of eerie. And so Vault Tech, that's what we're about to get into, because this guy's going to knock on the door any second now. We're going to have to talk to his bum ass. But Vault Tech is... they set up Project Safe House. And so they set up these underground shelters where... that they claimed would be able to sustain a nuclear holocaust and be self-sustaining. But some of the vaults were great, and the people lived there, and eventually they were let back out into the hostile wasteland, and some of were still thriving hundreds of years later. And some of these vaults were good, but a lot of them were these sick, twisted experiments that Vault Tech designed to run on people. We can get into some more of them when we come across them later on in the game. With the help of the splinter organization of the U.S. government called the Enclave, which are bigger in some of the older games. In Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, the Enclave were a bigger deal. The Enclave aren't really a big deal in this Fallout 4. But the Enclave, this secret group, sort of secret, they felt that they were better than the rest of the population, and they, proclaimed themselves the superiors or supervisors of,
Hey, Codsworth.
Don't worry about the dishes. That's
interesting.
my job.
They were better than everybody else, so they proclaimed themselves the supervisors over the general population. And they came up with some super fucking dark experiments. Here's the Vault Tech guy. So we'll talk to him and see what the fuck he's got. And I think this is where we pick our name and stuff. Hopefully
Good morning. Vault Tech calling.
Good morning. Good morning. What would I say?
Good morning.
I'd probably say good morning.
Isn't it?
How are you, fella?
Just look at that sky out there. You can't begin to know how happy I am to finally speak with you. I've been trying for days.
Interesting.
It's a matter of utmost urgency, I assure you.
Utmost urgency.
What's so important?
Urgency?
Why, nothing less than your entire future. If you haven't noticed, sir, this country has gone to heck in a handbasket. If you'll excuse my language. The big kaboom
Sure thing,
is...
bucko.
It's inevitable, I'm afraid. And coming sooner than you may think. If you catch my meaning. Now, I
does he
know
know
you're
it's
a busy
actually only
fellow,
like
so I won't
25
take up
minutes?
much of your time. Time being a precious commodity. I'm here today to tell you that because of your family service to our country, you have been
Right.
pre-selected for entrance into the local vault. Vault
Wonderful.
111.
This is what I was talking about.
Sounds great.
Sounds great.
Oh, it
Thanks,
is.
man.
Believe you me.
Sick. That's probably
Now,
what I would
you're
say.
already cleared for
I would
entrance
definitely be a
in
part
the
of a vault
unforeseen
community
event of
if they were real, for sure.
total atomic annihilation. I just need to verify some information. That's all.
Yep.
Tell me more about this.
Tell me a little
vault.
more, fella.
Oh, it has all the amenities of the modern home, I assure you. Not to mention total protection from nuclear radiation and hostile mutants. A better future underground.
So interesting
It's
that they,
not only our
they call
mission,
mutants out of the
it's
gate.
our passion.
There are super mutants. But they shouldn't know that yet.
Sure, let's do it.
Splendid. Splendid. Now,
Splendid.
let's see.
Splendid. Okay, so this is where you pick all your stats. So this is a part of the game maybe you guys are familiar with, maybe not. If you played the game before, you are, but it's your special. So it's your strength, your perception, your endurance, your charisma, intelligence, agility, and your luck. So depending on what kind of player you are, it's going to determine what stats you want to put into what. So everything starts at 1, and you have 21 points available. You can level them up individually as you level up throughout the game. You need a certain level to unlock a certain level of different perks throughout the game. So it does help kind of curtail your growth a little bit, so you're not demigod right out of the gate. Fallout New Vegas did a little bit of a better job of making you pick a more specific class. In this, sort of similar to Skyrim in the sense that you can just become a god pretty much, become unkillable and master of all trades, just infinite levels, which is whatever. I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is. So the current character that I am going to play as, I don't know the name I'm going to choose yet. I'm actually going to look up. There's a Codsworth name list. So I'm going to look at that and see which names that Codsworth recognizes, because I think we might take Codsworth out here eventually. But I am going to be like a ranger type. I'm a military type, so I'm going to try and play it as close to the vest as I think it would be in canon. So what I think the character would actually do in these circumstances. I am going to have a little bit of bias, and there are a couple of mods in here to make it a little more interesting, a little more fluid, and a little more immersive. So I, take it for what that is. But I am looking through the names right now, but it's going to be like a military individual. So his strength will be, he'll have a little bit of strength. I'm not going to be a melee character. Intelligence is huge. Intelligence is enormous in the Fallout universe. And I'm going to boost luck a little bit as well. I usually don't put any in luck. I usually play a 1 luck, like 7 charisma, 7 intelligence, and then, split the rest between endurance, perception, and strength, agility. But I'm playing a little bit of a different character. So critical hits are going to be big with this character. Crafting will be big. The agility is important for your action points, so you can get those crit hits. The crit hits, boyoch. Crit hits are fucking essential. We'll put a couple into endurance. I'm not really going to put any into perception. I'm going to put a couple into charisma as well. Let's see what we should do here. 1 more into intelligence. So you can see this is tough because you can't really make him very good. A couple things have to suffer. Luck's really important with this build. I know I am going to put my own points into luck later. I'm going to bump it up to 6 though. Bump charisma up to 5. So a 3, 1, 3, 5, 7, 3, 6. Typically I would go with, like a 3, 2, 3, 8, 8, 5, like 2. Typically maybe one more into strength. But this is the build we're going with. So not very strong, but it's all right. We'll deal with that for now. Our carry weight's going to struggle, but we're going to deal with it. We're not focusing too much on building because it's kind of boring to watch and boring to listen to, and nothing really interesting happening. So we're going to avoid that for the most part. But we are going to be, like I said, high crit hits, so that's something we're going to be looking forward to. So luck, agility, intelligence, charisma, those are very, very important. Those are some things that we got to pay attention to. So, all right, let's look at the names here. So Codsworth can say a bunch of wacky names, man. Like Billado, that's a name here. Bilodeau, that's sick. Bowman, Bowman, that's pretty sick. Braun, Braun, that's pretty cool. Let's see, what do you think this guy's name is? Let's see. Cosgrove, that's kind of a cool name. Cruz, that's kind of a cool name. Let's see what we got in G's. They don't have a Geralt. That would be sick if they did. You could have been Geralt. Damn. I would have been. What a shame. Because I'm a big Geralt of Rivia fan. Griffin. That's kind of a cool name. Gutierrez. Guy. Come on, Guy. Yeah. Guy. That's exactly who he is. Guy what? Guy what? What's Guy's last name, you think? Guy Hassenbuehler. Guy Heisenberg. Guy Hope. Guy Howard. Guy Hudson. Guy Humongous. That's funny. Guy Jenkins. Guy. What's Guy's last name we think here, folks? What do we think it is? This is, riveting content, I'm sure, as we look through here. Guy McFly. That's exactly what it is, dude. Guy McFly. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. What a name. Guy McFly.
Wonderful. That's everything. Just
sick
gonna
as
walk this
fuck.
over to the vault. Congratulations on being prepared for the future.
You're welcome.
Thanks again.
Hey, it's peace of mind. That's worth a little paperwork, right?
For you and Sean, no price is too high.
Good answer.
I have my moments.
Now here's where the chicken's even whacker.
Mr. McFly, Sean has been changed, but he absolutely
Mr.
refuses to
McFly?
calm down. I think he needs some of that paternal affection you seem to be so good at.
You got it.
You heard Codsworth. Come on.
Mr. McFly, that's so
How are the two
sick.
most important men in my life doing? Spin them
So
up
we were
the
talking
other.
about before
He
that,
loves that.
the Enclave, and they created these experiments along with Vault Tech, so that they would do like psychological, social, physical experiments sometimes. And the Enclave had intentions of colonizing other planets, so that they cared so little about the people that were still on the Earth, still a part of the common folk. Like, they were the super elites. Like, they just did not care
There's my little guy.
about
Much
it, you know
better
what I
now,
mean?
huh?
Like, they
Listen,
just
after
did
breakfast,
not
I was thinking
care.
we could head
Oop,
to the
here we
park
go.
for a bit. Weather should hold up.
Let's give it a sarcastic response, because it's kind
Will
of
it be like that night in the park a year ago?
Sir, Mum, you should come and see this.
Codsworth?
Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
Codsworth. If you play as the female character and give the sarcastic answer, she talks about getting
Yes,
pregnant.
followed by flashes, blinding flashes, sounds of explosions.
So
We're,
here's
trying
basically,
to
so
get
here it is.
confirmation.
Here's the
What?
start of the
Seem to have lost
game.
Contact with our
say?
affiliate stations.
We're getting hit with nuclear
We
warheads
do have
from
coming in.
China.
That's
This is
confirmed
like
reports. I repeat, confirmed reports
Yeah,
of
the
nuclear
basis of the game.
detonations in New York and
listen to where they hit.
Pennsylvania. My
Yeah,
God.
my old stomping grounds. They hit everywhere.
Oh my
See you
God.
later.
We need to get to the vault.
Now!
Let's go, team. See you, Cotsworth.
Residents of Sanctuary Hills.
And we run to the
You are
vault.
registered.
So you can see the old road aesthetic here. Look at this guy trying to back up his fucking car like a dummy. So you can go third person and first person in this game, which is tremendous. Yeah, check this out. They're running to the vault, and it's sort of, it's just the first opening scene. It's kind of depressing because you'll get up here and you'll see some of the people not allowed to get in. They're testing everyone. They've got like these testing like little beepers with like tasers or whatever. And they test you. And the vault tech rep is such a shame because the vault tech rep has to run away.
We need to get in. We're on the list.
Infant,
This guy McFly.
adult male, adult female. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You two, follow
All
me.
these people
Come
here
on.
are gonna.
What's gonna
be
happen to all
dead.
those people outside
We're
the
doing
gate?
everything we can.
They're
Now
all
keep
gonna die,
moving.
man. They're literally all dead. Basically, the bombs fall as soon as we hit this platform here. And that's the sort of the
Step on the
Brotherhood of
platform,
Steel
in the
that
center.
they end up being.
Sir, we need to
That's,
send you down to the vault. Step
got it.
on the platform.
Vault Tech are these dirty bastards. And so someone up here, here's the bomb. Hopefully my wife
Almost there. We're gonna be okay.
can go there.
I love you. Both of you.
We love you too.
Oh
my god!
Boom. And we go down
Hold on.
to the vault. Vault 111.
Oh god! Oh god!
Terrifying. This is where the people go, and that's where they would live. In these vaults. And like I was saying before, the Enclave would run these experiments, and some of the dark experiments, you know, they would, some of the old, and so yeah, like I said, they looked at colonizing other planets, and some of the old DLC does confirm extraterrestrial life, which is pretty cool. There's also, you know, alien Easter egg in Fallout 4, you could find an alien blaster and a crashed UFO, which is also pretty cool.
And proceed up the stairs in an orderly fashion. No need to worry, folks. We'll get everyone
But some of these
situated in your
experiments
new
are, you know,
home.
poisoning some of these
Vault
people. They were
111.
drugging them.
A better
In one
future
vault, Vault 11,
underground.
not 111,
So
but
we
Vault
just-
11.
Yes,
They
up
needed
the
to
stairs.
sacrifice one of their own people every year, and they did it for, you know, like dozens of years. They would kill
don't
the
get caught up
overseer
thinking
or
about
kill
that.
someone.
You're safe
And then the
now.
one year they revolted
Everyone,
and didn't
just
do
head
it,
up these
and then
stairs and
like
through
a
the door
sound
there.
thing played, automated sound thing played that was like, hey, congratulations, you know, you're free. Thanks for not killing someone. You've passed the test.
This way,
Just
please.
fucking bonkers.
Just this way.
So dark,
Step
dark,
over to the
dark
table
shit.
and take a seat.
Dark shit. So right now we are in the vault. We're getting our vault suits,
Right over there.
which just kind of looks like
Over
the
there. Take a suit.
what you would imagine the futuristic, like the futuristic onesie, basically, like a leather onesie. You know, the canvas. I can't quite tell.
Take a vault suit, then head down the hall.
That is.
You'll need your suits
But-
before we can take you further.
Yikes.
Welcome to Vault
Everyone puts
111.
on the same color fucking suit. You get sterilized. Like they had this shit all planned out. This shit's scary, man. I think we're close to that life.
Thanks.
Oh,
What
got my
now?
vault suit.
Just follow the
Thanks.
doctor.
Hey, Doc.
He'll show you where to go.
All right.
And so
Follow me.
this particular vault, Vault 111, story behind this is a cryo vault.
This is our new home.
So all of the patients
Oh, you're
here
gonna
are
love
told
it.
to go into
This
these
is one of our most advanced facilities.
cubicles, and they're going to be sterilized, and then they'll get back out, and they'll do their thing. But really what happens here is everyone is cryogenically frozen. And just, you know, really to experiment on what would happen to people if they were thawed out, like when they were thawed out, maybe to preserve them. Like I don't want to spoil it, but we are preserved for a reason.
Just step in here and
It turns out to be a specific reason later. But I don't know if they had a game plan out the gate for what
It'll
they're
be
doing.
okay.
What is a cryo vault?
Daddy's right here.
But
See?
they literally freeze everybody.
Could you help me?
That's our thing.
Who's my little guy? I'm not going far.
This is
Just
kind
be
of
over
the
there.
sad part.
There he is. See? Daddy's not going far.
All set? Just step inside.
Because, you know, they take your wife and kid and they freeze them together. refreeze you in a separate. They call it a decontamination pod too, which it really isn't. It's just kind of a shame.
The pod will
That's,
decontaminate and
you're right
depressurize
across from your wife and
before we
kid.
head deeper in the vault. Just
They're,
relax.
quote unquote decontaminating you. It's just pretty sketchy, man. You know, this is sort of. So this is supposed to be like the heartstrings, pulling on the heartstrings of this particular
Procedure complete.
playthrough, this particular character. And it is kind of sketchy, shady, and sad. But like I said, the vaults all did these weird, twisted experiments on one another. Like the Enclave wanted to do that. And, you know, they're not the only faction that's not in this game that are in some of the other games that we can talk about that you guys did ask me about last time. Not really last time, but you guys have talked about me. You guys have asked me what to talk about. Yeah, so right now we're thawing out. And so this is, you know, we're thawing out initially, our initial thaw out. And we're looking across and you can see your wife and kid being defrosted as well. And there's some folks in hazmat suits. And there's a gentleman there. I don't know if I want to tell you guys his name or not, because I don't know if you guys have ever played, if I'm spoiling it, so I won't tell you his name. There's a gentleman there with a big revolver, and he's kind of balding, but he's clearly military, and they're trying to take your kid. And the wife's not giving her up. I can bang on the window or whatever, but nothing happens.
I got him.
Let the boy go. I'm only going to tell you once.
This is so crazy to me. Because you definitely could have just used your hands and pulled her hands off the kid instead of shooting her in the head. Which is why this man needs to die. But then they refreeze us here. So pay attention to that, because that could be important later. You're refrozen after that initial, they kill your wife and steal your kid.
Cryogenic array. Vault residents must vacate immediately.
Sure thing. And then, of course, you just go
Come on!
and you can open up
There
that
has to be a
pod.
release! Come on, come on, come on! Oh, God!
But she's dead as fuck, guy. Character's screaming and freaking out.
Why
People
would
didn't
Vault
like this voice
do
actor.
this?
I thought he
I'll find
did
who did
okay.
this. And I'll get you.
Honestly. Like, some of the things that he said was a little whack, but I think most of the things that he did are pretty solid, to be honest with you. And so the cryogenic array, offline, premature termination resulting in system failure, isolated manual and remote overrides detected, controls disabled. The life support offline. Okay. Pod occupant status, empty, Mrs. McCallahan, deceased. Mr. Callahan, deceased. Asphyxiation due to life support failure. They all died due to asphyxiation due to life support failure. But these are like all your neighbors. Unknown. Pod door. Manual override engaged. That's Nora and Sean, our wife. And Guy McFly. Unknown. Remote override engaged. Which is interesting because it means that for some reason we didn't die from suffocation or choking. And a manual door release, which is interesting. Someone could let us out. So right now, we can only give people the hands. So the first thing starting is trying to find a double weapon.
Malfunction in emergency exit door override. Please contact your Vault Tech Bases representative for service.
No, this is just the other room. Okay. So this is more your neighbors. Let's move here too. And I think they do tell you everyone in here. Yeah. Everyone in here is also dead. Asphyxiation. Everyone died from that. premature termination. They just killed everyone, so it ended up being useless. This vault was nothing. This entire vault that everyone signed up for, that was meant to be, you know, like they were told to save them. And literally just everyone here died except for myself and then the infant. So security baton is the first weapon that you can see there. It's a melee weapon. Don't fret. There are
Cryogenic array.
in the same vault.
Vault residents must vacate immediately.
So don't freak out. I do take the coffee cups out of the right away because ceramic's very important. And if you're playing on survival mode, also take all the bottles. Let me look and see what difficulty we're on actually. Normal difficulty. We are going to play on hard difficulty. Very hard difficulty. We're not going to play on survival. Because that's the most fun I've ever had in a game is playing on survival mode. But I don't want to do that. That's just too stressful to try and do a podcast, Twitch stream, and do survival mode. It's just too much. It's just too much, Captain. What we got here? Another security baton. We'll take it. Okay. And then you go into bats, stomp out the bugs. Take that rad roach meat.
Giant.
Yeah, the meats and the
roaches?
drinks are all very important early. And like I said, so if we were playing survival mode, I'd take the beer bottles because you can fill them up with water, which is very cool. Right now I'm just taking like the coffee cups, as much as I can carry really. Because we're going to go into Sanctuary right out of the gate and set that up, and that will be our homeland. Oh, that's right. So that's just another fun thing that the games do. You check that tape, get the Red Menace. It's a video game. The holotapes, some of the holotapes are video games. Top 10, Overseer Memo. Remember, use of the recreation terminal is privilege. Later. So, there's terminals scattered throughout all of the games. I do recommend, if you are interested, just read the terminals every chance you get, because a lot of them have interesting things, whether it be storylines, things that are canon or not canon, Easter eggs. Like the computer terminals, they put a lot of time into it. That is one thing that the Fallout developers do really well. And they always have. Even, you know, some people say New Vegas is the best because it's the Obsidian version. And it might be. You know, it's definitely the best writing out of all of it, but they always do a very good job. They always put a lot of detail into all their games. You know, sometimes things don't just work. You know, that's a famous Todd Howard line. It just works. And there's definitely glitches and shit that are in all their games and wacky things, but all in all, they make tremendous games. Fallout's my favorite franchise. I think New Vegas is great. I think it's a tremendous game. I also think Fallout 4 is, you know, there's gameplay-wise, like as far as feeling smooth and feeling like a good game. Fallout, I have to move that because that's right over top of. I have to move my where. That look. And definitely remember to save often, guys. This is a game where you want to save often. It sometimes won't autosave unless you do something significant or go into a new load screen, and then it's all fucked because then you'll lose hours of gameplay, hours of time. So there's the handgun right on the desk there, along with some 3 stim packs. I recommend you all take that.
What happened here?
Activate the skeleton.
Where is everyone?
Take the eyeglasses, throw those on. Get extra bonuses, perception. That's a big thing in this game as well. So the cryolator, that's cool. That's a big thing in this one. Is what was I talking about? Who knows? Another 10mm pistol, 10mm rounds.
Nice.
Cryolator you cannot
Coming back later
unlock
for
yet. Yeah, and it's not that great, honestly. For being master locked and having to get master to come back and get it, by the time you can get it, it's just kind of like a fun thing to have. Definitely take bobby pins and rad-X. You definitely want to do that. 10mm rounds. You can sell the cigarettes still for some reason. I mean, it makes sense. Like, that becomes a form of currency almost in the future. It's kind of prison rules, you know what I mean? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, who knows. So let's see what we got here. 10mm pistol. Security baton. Beautiful. Pre-war money you can also sell, which is hysterical. And then we go out to the real world, guys.
Terminal
This is
should
the
open this.
first time we do that. Oh, well, there's one more section. That's right. We gotta go pick up our Pip-Boy. And I do want everyone to know that we went into VATS without having a Pip-Boy. I want everyone to note that, because we do not have a Pip-Boy on our wrist. See? No Pip-Boy. We went into VATS. We're not supposed to be able to do that. So, just keep that in mind. Oh, we're getting out the GAT. See ya. Gang. Gang. Lighten them up. Rad roaches. Ooh. One left. Okay. And I am going to take all the rad roaches. I'm going to cook it up. Not only is it going to be experience to level up, but it's also important early game to have heads. You don't get hit, especially if you're on the higher difficulties. If you're playing on legendary or survival mode, you'll definitely get hit. Basically a glass cannon in survival mode. On hard and legendary, you're just basically a big pussy, which is what you would be in the world. You know what I mean? You would be.
Is this all that's left?
Freaking out. And now we pick up the Pip-Boy. We just now pick up the Pip-Boy. Just wait later. Oh, see, got hit. Survival mode, that's a way bigger deal. Way bigger deal. Definitely take all the meats. Pick up the Pip-Boy. We went into VATS, like I said, before we had the Pip-Boy. Which we shouldn't have been able to do. But we did, but we did, but we did. And now we should be able to go into VATS. So Pip-Boy is basically like your iPad. It's like a wrist iPad, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having them, dude. If there's a Pip-Boy, I almost bought a smartwatch that looked just like the Pip-Boy. I really, really wanted it, man. I'll tell you, I really wanted it. This shit's sick. And then you look at yeah, there it's got like all your stats and stuff. And into your special, into your perks. No perks active yet. Charisma. Don't know why that's we have the glasses on. Yeah, pistol, security. All your stuff there. Stim packs, very important. Rad roach meat, very important. Cook it up. Get experience, and then it's important to have food, especially in these harder difficulties. Very important. Very important. Okay. Ooh, that's cool that they've got that channel. That's one of the mods. It's the Bleachers mod, which adds a whole extra part to Diamond City. So Diamond City is pretty cool in itself, and I do dig it, but it's missing a few things, and this Bleachers mod adds a couple of pieces to Diamond City that makes it just a little bit cooler.
Please stand back.
So we did that. So here's the vault opening up, man. The dirty, dirty vault tank bastards. They're letting us out finally. Who knows how many years later, wife's dead, kids gone, everyone, all my neighbors dead, frozen to death. Pretty wacky start to a video game, if you ask me, after nuclear apocalypse. That's literally the start of the video game. Nuclear apocalypse, everyone you know is dead, and they stole your kid. Level 1. Here we go, Guy McFly. Looking suave. Widow's Peak. Good beard. Beam me up, Scotty.
Enjoy your return to the surface, and thank you for choosing Vault-Tec.
Let's get it. So we are now into the real world. This is our first. It did take 45 minutes, so if you are starting a new game, you are looking at like I mean, I spent a little time talking and explaining this. You're looking at a half hour, 45 minutes of just introduction, starting out, opening up. Be wacky. Okay, so we're out in the real world. Diamond City radio found, classic radio signal found. Both good things. So you come out, you definitely want to bounce over here a little bit. You want to get the Rad-X bottles. I am going to take the bottle just for now because I know I'm going to go drop them off here in a second. Grab the stim packs, very importante. Yeah, here we go. Go to these crates. Get these things out the gate. Make sure you grab them. It's important materials for you to use. If you do some of the, there's one good mod that's just like a building resources, and it'll put resources right here. That's pretty cool. If you are a big builder, if you're into that, I've done that on a couple playthroughs because I love the building. Take the ammo. Take the ashtray. Coffee cups. Bottle cap. What do we got here? Desk fan ends up being important, which is hysterical. It's for the screws. Screws and duct tape, which makes some sense, you know, end up being two of your most important components. You know, throughout the entire game, you're going to be picking up fucking desk fans, and duct tape, and Wonder Glue. Adhesive, just any adhesive. Eventually, when you get further along, it's tomatoes, corn, and mut fruit, I think, and you can make adhesive, and that's way better. So this is Sanctuary. This is your old town, your old home, and this shit's sick, honestly. This is one of my favorite portions of Fallout 4 is being able to rebuild this town. It's very cool.
Live and breathe. Oh,
Hey, Bucko.
It's really you.
Codsworth.
What happened, Codsworth?
What happened to the world?
The world, sir? Well, besides our geraniums still being the envy of Sanctuary Hills, I'm afraid things have been dreadfully dull around here.
Codsworth's just so
Things will be
precious, man.
so much more
He's a
exciting
peachy
with you and
individual.
Mrs.
I love him very much.
Where is your better
I've
half?
never taken him as my full-blown companion before. I think this might be the playthrough for it.
They killed her.
Sir, these
We tell
things you're
Codsworth what the
saying,
fuck's up.
these terrible things. I believe you need a distraction. Yes, a distraction to calm this
Distraction,
dire mood.
yes.
It's been ages since we've had a proper family activity. Checkers, or perhaps charades.
I love Codsworth.
Sean does so love that game.
He's got a little bit of a screw loose, though, it turns out. They stole him.
Codsworth,
Have you
listen
seen
to
him?
me carefully.
What's
Have
that?
you seen him?
Seen him.
Have you
His
seen
photo,
Sean?
I do.
Why, the missus had him last, remember? Or perhaps she's gone to the Parker residence to arrange a play date. I'm sure she'll be back.
Yeah,
with
he's
him
still back, you
momentarily.
know. 200 years ago.
It doesn't make
We'll
sense.
say nothing makes sense.
There's just no reason someone would take my son.
It's worse than I thought.
Indeed.
You're suffering from hunger-induced paranoia. Not eating properly for 200 years will do that, I'm afraid.
200 beans.
200 years? What? Are you...
A bit over 210, actually, sir. Or give or take a little, for the Earth's rotation and some minor dings to the old chronometer. That means you're 2 centuries late for dinner.
I do apologize for all the background
Perhaps I
noise.
can
It's
whip you up a
definitely
snack. You must
a
be
little distracting,
famished.
but this is a new format, so we'll see what's happening. You attempt to persuade them.
Codsworth,
You okay,
you're acting-
Codsworth?
Oh, sir, it's been just horrible.
He breaks down.
2
There you go.
centuries with no one to
He tries to
talk
keep it together.
No one to
He breaks
serve.
down.
I spent the first 10 years trying to keep the floors waxed, but nothing gets out nuclear fallout from vinyl wood.
Isn't he just
Nothing.
wonderful?
And don't get me started about
10
the
years he hasn't seen me
futility of
trying to keep my
dusting a
house clean.
collapsed house. And the car! The car! How do you polish rust?
What a beautiful human.
Stay with me, pal. Focus.
I'm afraid I don't know anything, sir. The bombs came and all of you left in such a hurry. I thought for certain you and your family were dead. I did find this holotape. I believe the missus was going to present it to you as a surprise. But then, well,
Ooh, this is
everything
sad.
happened.
Thank you, Codsworth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, enough feeling sorry for myself. Shall we search the neighborhood together? The missus and young Sean may turn up yet.
Yeah, in this particular point, we just walk around the
All right.
neighborhood with old Codsworth,
Lead the way.
blasting boat flies and radroaches. It's pretty glorious. You just clean up the town, get all the enemies out of it.
Picking up hostile peekaboo.
And I might destroy something. Did he kill it? We're done. That's what savage. Oops. Sorry. Shot him in the cranium.
Flies.
Take the boat flag
My
land.
senses are picking up movement in another house. Follow me.
Alright, then we go to the other house and we dookie on him here. Yeah, Codsworth's just wonderful. He's a grade A guy. And I'll probably clean up a little bit in the game here. And while I'm doing that, I'll be able to talk about some more stuff. I mean, right now we're literally just going house to house. Dude, Terrific, he says. Doink, 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 doink. Attaboy, Codsworth. Attaboy, Bucko. Attaboy.
Mr. McFly.
Pretty sick. He calls you Mr.
Codsworth.
McFly.
Mr. McFly. The missus and young Sean. They aren't here.
Yeah, I know, Bucko.
Thanks for trying,
It's okay.
Codsworth.
You can't give up, sir. What about the city?
Look how huge
Concord
Codsworth
is nearby, and, well, the people
He's not-
there have only shot at me a
I don't
few
remember it being
times.
that big.
Thanks for your help,
Thanks,
Codsworth.
Codsworth.
Good luck, sir. You'll
Tremendous
find young
character.
Sean. I know you will. I shall remain
Thanks,
here and
Bucko.
secure the home front.
And I think I can. I should be able to claim Sanctuary right out of the gate. Because I've done a playthrough where I never contact. Yeah, there you go. Where I never contact the Minutemen. I've done that before. I don't think. I'm not going to do it this playthrough. I'm definitely going to contact the Minutemen. I think I'm going to. It's either going to be between a Brotherhood of Steel or a Minutemen playthrough. I don't know exactly which I'm going to choose yet. But it's definitely going to be one of those. And when I look at, let's just pull some of the stuff up here. So the Minutemen basically are the closest thing to like an NCR-ish type character set in this, like a faction in this. The NCR is the New California Republic. They're the big faction in Fallout New Vegas. Well, not the big faction, but a big faction. Fallout New Vegas, one of the main endings can be that. But they have something like 700,000 citizens, and they're like they try to replicate the United States. They're the closest thing to the United States. They have 3 branches of government. They're very imperialistic. They're about the military. They have a great military. A lot of people. Just they have states. They have governors. They have a president. So like they have that sort of style. And New Vegas had a ton of factions and storylines, so I'll eventually cover them all probably. But that's like the NCR is similar to what the Minutemen are here. The Minutemen get a bad rap in Fallout 4. The Minutemen were the... And here, I'm going to get fucking internet hate, which is hysterical. Because I played through Fallout 4 so many times. I've played through all the Fallouts. I love Fallout. But when I first played Fallout 4, I chose to go with the Minutemen. And I understand that Tinker Tom is a fucking madman. And to trust him to be able to send me to the Institute is probably not the way to go. You know, or not Tinker Tom, Sterling, or whatever his fucking name is. I can't remember his name now. Sturgill, I think, maybe. Because he can't even hack, like, a fairly easy computer to hack. But I expect him to, send me to the Institute, to hack into their servers and the Institute. That's not super probable. So, I understand why people are like, I can't believe you'd go with them. The Brotherhood of Steel are really, the only ones that would technologically probably be able to pull it off. Yeah. I mean, and like the Railroad's also fucking insane. And then, Grognak the Barbarian. You collect an issue of Grognak the Barbarian. Critical hits with unarmed and melee attacks permanently do plus 5% damage. That's great if we were melee. It's just fun to have because eventually you'll get to put all of those comics onto a display shelf. If you're into that sort of thing, I'm big into the aesthetics in here. I had a couple mods called like OCD Decorator. That was, one of the things that I did, like super placement stuff. I'm always into shit like that. I like the placements. And I've got a bunch of things like that on here too. A bunch of the aesthetic stuff. I won't make you guys sit through the majority of that. I'm only gonna do it hopefully when I'm talking about something. But the Minutemen, they get a bad rap, I think. I like Preston Garvey. He gets a bad rap too. He was kind of broken. They shouldn't have made him come up to you, every fucking 20 minutes and been like, so the coffee tin there that I just picked up, they're pretty rare. So I do save the coffee tins. If you're wondering what that is, I do save the coffee tins. I'm gonna put it over here somewhere in a miscellaneous container. But they did break him a little bit, unfortunately, because he walks up to you every 20 seconds. Basically every time you go out and come back, and he's like, "There's a new settlement that needs your help," and people freak out about it, and I understand. It's a bummer. I wish they wouldn't have done that with him. Should have made more spread out. For some reason they didn't do that. It's whatever. What do I usually use? I think I just use the steel ones, metal boxes. Let's do that. And put that tin in there. Because I don't want to accidentally scrap it. But I'm going to scrap everything else. Boom. So I just got that, the vault suits. Yeah, I'll make another little tin. I'm going to definitely keep this, obviously, because they're hard to build. The power station. That's why Sanctuary becomes so important early on, because it's the only place with a power station that is easily accessible out of the gate. Well, not the only place. You can go to the Red Rocket truck station down the way. But it's basically the same thing. They're basically connected. If you have the No Borders mod, you can connect the Red Rocket truck station with the Sanctuary Hills. And I've done that before, which is kind of fun. I'm going to store a couple things here. Store one of the pistols. Store one of the security batons just in case. Store the jumpsuit and the wedding ring. Keep the eyeglasses. Clean up a little bit. Because I was talking about the Minutemen. And we're going to go meet them here. They're in Concord. I'm going to end this portion of it. I'm going to end this particular video as we wrap up talking about the Minutemen and cleaning up Sanctuary. We're going to go into Concord next episode, and we're going to meet the Minutemen. That's sort of what the game wants you to do. That's sort of like the base the baseline of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go into Concord and meet the Minutemen. I've gone through a whole playthrough, like I said, without ever meeting the Minutemen. So it's not necessary to complete the game, but they are one of the major factions in this Fallout 4. They're one of the main factions, and they're tremendous. I think that they're, a lot of fun. They're, very stoic, and they're about justice. They're about the little guy. They're the hometown militia. They are the army of the people. They're about helping people at any means necessary, helping anyone at any time, regardless of race, creed, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, political affiliation, indica, sativa, or straight edge. They are all into just helping everyone they can. And so that's why I kind of was on board with the Minutemen out of the gate, just because they were like that. That was their mantra. And as we get into the other factions, we can dive into why I like them, why I didn't like them. But that's why I like the Minutemen. So that's who we're going to meet on the next episode. And the next episode might be right after this. If it's the podcast form, it's probably going to be... I'm probably going to separate these by a couple days apiece as I go through and do the editing process. But if this is the Twitch stream, it might be the very next video in a couple of minutes. I'm going to go see what the homies are doing on the old Xbox and see what's happening there. And I might jump back on and do this. Know what I mean, boyos? But alright, my friends. I don't know how to end these yet. Maybe I'll think of something. Like a Dungeons and Dragons sign off. Like a tally ho. Old boyo. We'll be back with more Joyo.